Domestic violence can be one of the most difficult situations to talk about and sometimes to even get out of. And sadly, it can happen to anyone, be it a man, woman, children, spouses in relationship, and even friend. But guess what? No one is actually immune to domestic violence. But at some point, that narrative has to change. Really, it has to change. My name is Temidayo Anthony, and I welcome you to another informative, educative, and of course, interesting time on The Delivery Room, where we talk about trending relationship issues, controversial issues that relate to life, society. Sometimes we can even bring in politics. We have not gotten there yet, but we will. But I'm not alone in the studio today. I have a full house like we do it. You know, it's not me. I've got people here in the studio. I've got Kenny K here in the studio. Kenny, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Looking amazing.
Thank you.
Abib.
Hi.
African man.
Yeah.
And of course, our controversial man here, Nakel Medina. Nakel, how you doing?
I'm doing good, and how are you?
Great to see you here today. All right, so going by my introduction, that should give you an idea of what we are talking about. So we are looking at abusive relationships and stings. I'm adding that to it. Abusive relationships and stings. What could make someone stick to an abusive relationship? Domestic violence, bring it all together. It's a whole lot, and today we are dissecting it. We're trying to get information. We're trying to get educated when it comes to domestic violence. So straight up, I'm taking it from Nakel to a layman. Let's start from the definition, the breakdown, the meaning of what domestic violence or abusive relationship is.
Well, like you said to a layman, abusive relationship abuse, violence, as you may call it, is just violence committed in a relationship by either of the partner, either physically or psychologically. That is it to me.
I think I'll bring that to Kenny.
Okay, yeah, for me, it's just when a particular partner has more control and authority over the other person.
A partner having more control.
Yeah,
And normally in relationship, it ought to be
the same, yeah.
A balanced ground, a balanced field.
Exactly.
But now someone has an upper hand in the relationship that now there's a bit of control coming into it.
Exactly.
Alif, do you agree?
I don't think I agree totally with that.
Okay.
It's not about one person having more control. Even the person that has control can still be a victim of violence. So I think it is just all of those things that happen where 2 or 3 people are in a domestic space, in a small space. So anywhere you have 2 or 3 people, there's bound to be friction, and when that friction escalates to something bigger, something much more than, then it becomes domestic violence. Yeah.
All right, so over time you've been following the stories happening on social media. We've been hearing different stories going by the gospel artist that died recently, and there has been accusations and counter accusations coming forth that she was beaten, the marriage was abusive, there was domestic violence and all. And that brings the question again, why do victims of domestic violence or abusive relationships stay put? Why don't they come out? Why don't they speak out? Why don't they seek help? What makes them stay? Kenny?
Okay, yeah, for me, I think there are 3 reasons why most people in abusive relationship, why they still stay and they don't go. I think the first is the fact that that's money. Let's say, for example, the woman is the one being abused. She doesn't want to leave because she feels like, okay, if I leave, how am I going to take care of these children, especially if she's self-dependent on the man? If the man is the one taking care of the responsibility, it becomes a problem for her to start taking care of the children, depending on how many is involved. You know, it's a lot on that person. So, and basically that is what I've noticed that happened most with a lot of these women. They tell you, oh, wow, I can't start. How am I going to start? This is someone I've been with, someone I'm self-dependent on. So because of that, they can't leave. Then I think the second, of course, is the children. Many of them make excuses of the fact that I don't want to get divorced because of the children. You know, having to now manage those children on my own without their father figure, it becomes an issue. And it happens also, that is also one major issue that a lot of people are facing. They don't want to leave because of the issue that is going to end up affecting the children. And the fact about it is that on the long run, the same children that you're saying that you're trying to avoid you're trying to avoid because of the future and everything, they're the ones that will end up suffering for it the most, because many of them have that emotional trauma with them that they can't tell you, that you don't see. But because of that excuse that you keep giving, that is because of the children, becomes a problem. And a lot of women hold on to that. My mom did. And on the long run, she ended up realizing that it is wrong. I cannot do that. I cannot do this because of my children. I need to move on. And that was what she did. And of course, and the last one is low self-esteem. Because a lot of these women, they've been in this abuse for so long that they are so used to it, to live with the problem. Because the man has looked down on them, they're stuck down on them. They can't go because they feel trapped there. They're so used to it. That is why even this kind of women, when you come to them and you're like, you need to leave this relationship, they'll tell you, where am I going to? So how am I going to start? So they have this low self-esteem that they don't want to go. I can remember there's this neighbor of mine, they're in a relationship, they're not married. Like, the guy literally beats her a lot. I'm talking about serious beating, punching and everything, dragging and the rest. And it got to a stage, I was like, this is getting too much. Because I also have experienced, I didn't experience it myself, my mom did. So, we were in that situation, so it was a lot. So I was like, this is getting too much. I had to call her. I sat her down, like, you need to leave. Is it money? You're okay. Your brother sends money to you. He pays for that house. That guy he's not the one paying for that house. It's you. It's your brother. He's the one coming to live there full time. So why can't you leave? It's not money issue for you. You don't have children with this person. So what is the problem? Because we started studying that. What could be the problem? Why is she like this? So it was a problem. First time, she didn't do it. I had to call people to please talk to her. I called the brother because he's outside the country. I called him, please talk to this guy. If this guy killed this lady for inside the house, it's going to be a problem. And it got to a stage, because I'm doing because of the kind of experience that I've had.
Right,
I have to do my own part as a woman to not let this happen. But it got to a stage, even me gone, I got tired. Because there was nothing I could do. And now you also have to consider that if she dies, you guys are going to be on the road because you're the neighbors.
Yes,
they would ask
what's your own
it becomes
yeah?
an issue that we don't know what was happening. So my brother now said something. He said the problem isn't money or anything. The problem now that she has is low self-esteem. Because she believes that, where is she going to start? Is anyone going to love me the same way? He loves me, he cares for me. So that's why he's doing what he's doing. Or probably I'm the one wrong. I'm the one that is doing something wrong to him. So that comes into play.
All right, so I'm moving that to Abib. Kenny stated finance, staying for the sake of the children, and low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, or you have something else, or you have another reason?
I agree with that, but I think all those three are a subset of a bigger problem, which is our orientation, our idea of what relationship or marriage is. So usually it is the man that is pretty much doing you a favor by getting married to you or by bringing in a relationship.
That's the idea, right?
That's what generally, I won't say that's what it is, but that's the general perception of, okay, it's the woman that has to ask, is the man that has to ask you out, is the man that has to make the move, is the man that has to do
pay
all of
the
those
dowry,
things, pay the dowry and all of that. So I think that because of patriarchy being what it is in our society here, and it has helped form an idea of marriage and relationship that the man is always superior and the woman
has to be underneath.
So some way, somehow, being the kind of people we are, oppression comes in. I think we are very oppressive people. I think, because
are you stating this for African men, or we're talking men generally across the world?
I would say African men, because I've been around here. I don't know what happens elsewhere, but I think that we are very oppressive people. So because of that power that the society has given us, I think we tend to believe, okay, we can do anything we want and get away with it. If I do it, after all,
nobody's going to question me.
I'm the man here. This is, and then you even find some women also saying, that's what he has to do. Like, if maybe I'm the one, like she said, maybe I'm the one that's doing something wrong. Oh, I only just offended you. Oh, this is my marriage. And then there's the part of religion too. I think that's like,
we are coming to religion when it comes to abusive relationship. All right, so you talked about African men having the mentality that the man has to be superior and the woman has to be just be subordinate, if I can use that word. But what if there is a turn to this setting that it's the man that is getting abused? Because that's not really loud in our society,
happens.
but then it happens.
It's still the same oppressive mentality that I think the woman has something on the man. That's why she could take that. She could go that route. Maybe she's physically stronger or emotionally stronger. Maybe she has more.
Maybe she's a
more
breadwinner.
more powerful. Maybe she's a breadwinner, and then that oppression comes into, and then she uses it to her advantage. So I think that in that space of relationship and marriage, like she said, maybe one person has more control, but then when there is more control in the hands of one partner,
person,
they tend to abuse it.
But at what point do we get this unbalanced level of relationship? Because normally it's two adults going with consent given to one another, into relationship.
That is the idea that is being sold to people now. It was not like that before. Before, it's always the man going forward to ask for a hand in marriage. It's the man that sees a flower in someone's compound and he wants to.
But Abib, let me say something now. The man is going forward to ask for. What if I do not agree?
Yeah.
There will be no relationship. There will be no flower being plucked.
Yeah.
There will be no marriage taking place. Yeah. So it ought to be a balanced level. You're coming in to ask for my hand in marriage. I saw you. I liked you. There was something that struck me about you that made me say yes.
Yeah.
So how does it now get to the point that you are now the one to control everything that has to do with me, and then abuse step in?
Of course, it is still in the institution or in the relationship or in the marriage. The man is seen as the superior, right? And then, so of course, he has to act like the superior sometimes. So when issues happen, and then there are things he cannot control emotionally, his physicality takes the floor,
and then he wants to show muscle.
He wants to show muscle. Yeah.
Let me move on to Nakel, because it seems we left Nakel out of this conversation. Nakel, do abusers, do they have warning signs? Are there red flags, starting from relationship or even friendship? Because normally before you go into relationship with someone, you're friends with them, you interact with them, something struck you like, okay, I like this guy, I want to let me give a trial of my emotion with this person. Does abusers or do abusers have red flags, warning signs?
Yeah, for me it's a yes, because when something just don't come suddenly in human life, it must have grown over time. You understand? During the courtship, any relationship that is based on lies or fake life like we have it lately, should know on the long run is going to develop into such situation. But immediately you start dating someone and there is always physical reaction to every issues, you should know such person is going to be abusive. Even if you are, as a lady, you are talking to a man and the man has maybe you have one or two issue or confrontation and you have the effrontery to even smash your pulse, believe me, one day that is a sign. Someone you love, you don't do that. As you don't do that.
I did a yes or
you don't do that.
I don't think that is. Well, some of these signs are there, yes, I agree. But then it doesn't mean that every reaction should be seen as a sign. So if the man does not react, if the partner does not react...
There are ways to react. It shouldn't be physical. It's not only... And again, you see, we live in a society, in a lawless society. This thing is not... It's just the internet that make the issue of relationship or marriage violence so... voiceful, broad, and visual in the world today. It has been over the years. Yes. You understand? And the way, the manner in which our society and the way we were brought up, the role it plays is not small. You understand? Look from our law to this, from the parent aspect, from the religious aspect, everything accumulated together and give room to all these things.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Yes, sir. It gives room to all these things. But for me, your question was, is there any red flag? Yes, it is. If you are dating someone and from onset the person is getting, even whatever makes your partner, be it a woman or a man, insult you in the presence of their friends, believe me, that relationship won't last.
Exactly.
It won't.
Yeah.
But what if
In every relationship, if your partner is not so ashamed, let me tell you, a true relationship, your partner must have some courtesy. Even there are some situations before your partner will express it to you, you will feel ashamed. Believe me, that person is in love. But if your partner is so bored in everything and think is the Lord in that relationship, hello, Jackpa.
Well, yes, I agree with that. But I have a little digression from that, which is that if you say that every reaction means that you should run, then
you keep running.
You keep running, yes,
Until
exactly.
you get to the right.
But depending on the kind of reaction. The example you gave is quite wrong. So you already know that there is a problem. So it's fine, you can keep studying that person, but if it's getting too much, you have to leave.
What if something happens? What if
What
if it was coming up with something happened right from out there and it was coming to the house and then you just have this small reactions, small arguments, and does that stand as a sign for you to think this person is an abuser?
Argument. So you said something. You said argument. It wasn't an abuse. Let's not mistake that together.
No, but you can insult.
But an example that
An argument can give room to violence.
You can say
if at that point, either of them is not able or not able to control their emotion.
You know, it's just like you said. I can be arguing with you.
There's verbal abuse too.
Yes.
Yeah,
in different ways.
to a point.
Is that not so?
Yes.
Is that not so? Is that not what you mean by when I hit you?
That's physical abuse.
But there's verbal is when
in words.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, verbal in words. See, on the long run, we can still. It's about you studying the person to see even the longer. Like you said, yes, fine. But like I said, argument is a different thing. So now, that is what it's coming to something else. But argument, any one of us can argue. That's the truth about it. I can argue with you.
But argument comes in different forms.
Exactly.
You're still watching The Delivery Room. What we talk about is as it is. We deliver it as it is. And today we are looking at abusive relationships and stints. What does this mean to you? Today, since we're a bit laid back, it's not so argumentative like we used to do. We just want to give our own opinion, want to share our own experience, want to give our own objective when it comes to this issue of abusive relationship. And of course, at the end of the day, we'll talk about how we can make a change, how we can bring our own change into environments or relationship when it comes to this abusive relationship. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, our conversation continues. Please stay tuned with us. All right, welcome back to The Delivery Room. Now, I'm going to ask you guys this. What are the effects of abusive relationship on the partner who is the victim? I'm sure some things definitely will go wrong in that person's life. I really don't want to state it. Psychology, emotions, confidence, like you say. So what are those things? Expatiate more on that particular effect. Do I take you to...
First thing, it's either it's build a negative moral in such partner or negative. In the sense, if I have been, let me give an example. If I happen to be in an abusive relationship and I leave that relationship, when I'm going out of that relationship, I must have two things. It's either it kills my moral or it brought up my moral. In my next relationship, I have to be very, very careful because what I want not to count, how might react on it, and it might make me to become the abuser in that relationship. That is first thing. Another thing is that it can even kill someone morally, mentally, and psychologically and affect one's career. You understand? It depends how much the person was in love or into that relationship. Let me give you an example. You see, the problem we have is it's so coupled that we can't even share light on everything. Yes, and we just have to talk the one we have to, and everybody just have to take their own point and just build up for me. Because this issue is so broad, is so wide and so complicated, but it surely affects either positively or negatively.
But how does it affect positively?
I don't think there is a positive effect on.
The positive effect aspect is
Okay, it gives you
that
something to
if
look
someone
out
has
for.
been, if one has been into abusive relationship and he keeps enduring until such person has the freedom to leave, or someone courage to leave that abusive relationship, I believe such person will not settle for less in another relationship. It will build on the moral and the brevity of that person.
Okay.
You said that right. Let me give you another scenario regarding this abusive relationship. Now, this is something that happened real life. A lady and a guy in a relationship now. She has a son for the guy, and at some point the guy started beating her. Now he beats her to a very crazy point that if she doesn't get beaten in a week, she starts feeling funny. Like, this guy has not touched me this week.
That has gone to
That's some sort
that
of
is psychological
conditioning.
thing.
She's
Yes.
been conditioned to being
Yeah.
beaten.
That.
And maybe it can even lead to other things. Maybe that's what turns her on. Maybe that's what.
And
It's-
such
so
person
it
needs to
becomes a
undergo
psychological
counseling
issue.
so
Yeah.
to be
In order
free.
to go. So I'm moving that to you, Abib. What are the effects of abusive relationship on the partners?
The effects can actually only be discussed like by people that have been in it. Like they are the ones that have the perfect description. I've never been so, but I'll just say that the effect it goes beyond what we can see. Like imagine me trying to pick something here and you're already guiding your face. So that is something that it has gone far. It traumatizes the person. Yes, definitely traumatizes the person. It affects a whole lot about how they see life. They start even developing low self-esteem. Back to what Kenny said earlier. They start feeling like, oh, okay, maybe in another situation, maybe you've been with this person, is abusive, you run. You've been with this person, is abusive. You start looking at yourself. Am I the problem? Am I the one that
Or is the
Am I the
person-
one that
Let
is-
me buttress you on that. You see, from the point you pick up, I believe most people these days tends not to live an abusive relationship. One, because of the society. Let me give you a scenario. A lady who has been in African setting, has been in 2 or 3 relationships that is abusive, or even no, or maybe one thing or the other lead to the fact that the person got divorced. Let's just use divorcee as an example now. The person has been in 1, 2. The third one, no matter how abusive the person, because of the society we live in, for Yoruba aspect, one ka or what dale moshu, the person will just summon or make decision on their own that I just have to stay here no matter what. But people have to be counseled about all these things. Yeah, an abuser. Let me look at Nigeria. To be in an abusive relationship, I believe some people are all about luck. You understand? Look at Nigeria's scenario, Nigeria case as a scenario. Nigeria politicians over the years has always been power maroon. We've not have a good leaders. The Nigerian citizen now, we are the one being abused. It's not our wish. You understand? But we fall victim. Does that make us less? No. So also are some people. Some people, when they leave one relationship to another, the next person they are meeting will still be abusive. So also, it's just like Nigerian politician. When we believe this person is the Messiah, when you go to another, we see getting worse. So it's not about maybe someone's attitude, like you said. It might just be ill luck, just like Nigerian case. Some people, they might so be good with good moral, but everyone they find will still be.
But I think
an
that
abuser.
to round up that point, I think that what the major effect of the abusive relationship is that it destroys that institution of marriage. It destroys that.
How many marriage do we even have lately?
Exactly.
How many marriage do we have?
No.
There are still many people coming together in union. It's not marriage. No, we have to
People are coming
determine
together,
first
not
what
coming-
is
not getting
marriage. The union we have today, are they even married? to start with. How many marriages do we even have these days?
Exactly.
If
And
you
the
look at
rate,
the
the
basis
rate
of what
of
marriage
people
is
getting
about.
married
People have been
today
joined
is
together.
high.
Yeah,
And getting
everybody
divorced
is
is
getting
high.
together.
But people
You know
are
what I'm saying?
still, however, that is Saturday's weddings are still
Well,
taking
of
place.
course.
People are still
Exactly.
coming
Yeah.
together, and they're still
For
getting
what
together.
basis? Is it for
Exactly.
You
what
don't-
marriage is truly for,
We
or
can't-
just people coming
We
together?
can't determine that.
No, that's
But-
that-
No,
that's
we
why I
can
said-
determine that through the divorce
Yeah,
rate.
that
It is
is
getting
why I
too
said
much.
people coming together
Getting
to
too
form a
much.
We
union.
can't
Is
still
it
base
truly
the
for what
statistics.
marriage
Okay,
is?
but what I
Oh,
want
you
to
should
say
check
is
Nigeria's
that what I
statistics.
want to say is that back to what you said earlier, that if something is like this, japa.
How many
if
japas?
everybody starts to japa, then that institution, nobody wants to get married.
That is why
But
you
you
have,
don't
that
want
is
to
why
live
you
in
have to
that
have
abusive
your prescription of whom you want.
And
You know. Let me just tell you one thing. We are focusing mostly on marriages. You understand? Let's look at courtship, relationship.
Yeah.
Do you see you see lately in malls? You see maybe someone is hanging out with another guy. You see, because I bought you the wig you are wearing, I bought you the shoes. You see your boyfriend coming there beating. I saw one like 3 days ago. Why a guy came to interfere? The girl was even pushing the guy that I deserve to be beaten. It's madness.
Yeah, that's conditioning. Yeah.
Condition to
Exactly,
work.
exactly.
And it's because most of all these people, they depend.
Exactly.
Of course, no,
exactly.
that's what I'm saying. That
Self-dependence.
it's
Yes,
about
and many
pressing.
people go into relationship because they are good diggers.
Of course,
Most
they
of
want-
them
they
go
want
into
to-
because of the
Exactly.
material things.
Of course.
You go into relationship, your marriage, it must not be based on materials.
Material things.
It even becomes a
things.
problem.
It must not be based because you
But do you know
like
that?
one thing.
Do you know that even
First thing that should
relationship is?
determine relationship is character.
But you know that even
Marriage.
relationship is.
Affection. What about
Relationship is a
affection?
full-time job for
Connection.
some people now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and
yes,
that
yes.
is why this violence
It's getting
keep
even
increasing day in day
So
out.
are you saying, now let me come in here and say, are you saying people don't have a perfect definition of what a relationship
Absolutely,
is?
that is it.
Ah,
People don't.
no,
Can we
people
generalize
don't.
that?
No, I can't.
People
I can't
don't.
say that.
People
right?
don't.
People
don't.
know. If people don't,
Yeah.
they won't be going into marriages.
If people do,
don't.
let me tell you what
Wait,
people
wait.
say as marriage. Two people coming together and having kids. You see, people, we are proud baby mamas these days.
No,
that's
no,
the
That is what
psychology
most
of the-
people
of-
want. But they also are considering public opinion that okay, is a baby mama or baby daddy. So they just want to put it
Get
there.
married. Exactly.
but I think that that's it. I think that
And
that's
every marriage
It-
that
it-
is
it- it-
conditioned
it-
to
it-
something,
it-
I think
we
what
always resort in
what
violence.
you said.
You
What you
heard
said.
what I said? Every
Yeah.
marriage
Of
that
course.
is conditioned to something, either
Of course, of course.
That is
because you
perfect
have
material.
dread,
That is-
or
that is
because you
very
have
high.
needs,
Or
or
money,
because you
or-
have
yeah.
money.
And that is
we
very
always
high today.
lead to violence.
These
That is
reasons
just
are
it.
very high today. That
Of
is why
course.
the rate of divorce is getting too much.
So you're
It's
saying
getting too
materialism
much.
is actually the
based on-
foundation
I
of
have
a lot of
someone that got
relationships.
married to someone he doesn't like
No,
because she was pregnant.
I don't think so.
That is one other reason.
No. Now
What's
she got
another
married to the
reason?
person, but something triggered, something
course.
brought them together in the
Exactly,
first
but
place.
that thing that brought them together, that is what is
It's
forcing
Yeah,
them to
pregnancy.
get
have you
married
found
to
a
that
scenario
person.
whereby
But do you know that most marriages start from
Kenny, have you
getting
found a scenario
pregnant?
whereby I'm dating two of you and you get to know and you want to play the fast track, you get pregnant,
pregnant,
for-
and you
Of course.
force
and
me
the
to marry
family
you.
enforce me to
Of
marry
course.
you.
Exactly.
Why I'm not even
I have someone that
ready?
is
You
that's
should
fine.
know this
All-
is
all-
there's going to be violence.
All is
Exactly.
fair. All is fair in love
No.
and war.
No.
You decided you want to have two people you want to date at the same time.
I don't know.
If you chose to be faithful, you would choose one
Hello,
person
where we are
and
dating,
stay
there's nothing like being
dedicated to that
faithful.
person.
During courtship, there's nothing like being until I call. No, wait. Until I engage you. I can try 3 guests, nothing wrong with it.
No.
But immediately I engage.
No.
Hello,
Now I
immediately I engage you. That let's be
This is
frank
actually
to
what's
ourselves.
happening.
No, that's
This is
what
what is happening.
That's why
Let's face reality. No.
And it goes both ways.
Let's be
Because the person
until I engage you. That is when I have my full commitment to you. That is how it should be.
So are you saying our
That is how it should
forefathers,
be.
hold on, are
Yeah.
you saying our fathers, our forefathers who would marry one person or who would date, they don't even date, they just meet, the family come together and then
live
they
happily ever
live
after.
happily ever after.
That
And
is
that is
that is how you
Hold
see
on.
those days.
No.
Have you found
Hold on.
in those days you will see those fathers asking their wife to kneel down. and
Exactly,
be
and
there.
give them
It's
that's
because
why
they
they
don't
are
even
starting,
know.
and that is what we are discussing
You
here.
know, sir?
That is when it started.
That was the orientation.
thing.
That was the
Exactly.
orientation.
And that's how it
That
was
was
to be.
the
And it was peaceful and everybody was
Peaceful
fine.
how?
And the woman was most women was in bondage then.
You know we're talking about abuse.
They were in
Abuse is
bondage.
not just physical. We are talking about emotional.
Of
And a
course,
lot of
I
women
agree.
back then were facing that.
Yes.
Especially.
Kenny,
That's
let-
why you can see that we can't see it. We can't even measure that this is the rate because they were facing what emotional.
Kenny, let me tell you something.
Abi wants to say something.
Wherever you have 2, 3, 4, 5 people, there's bound to be friction.
Yes.
Even as your best friend, you would fight. There will be issues where you would.
But let
yourself.
something strike your mind.
Wait.
Okay.
So even in marriages, in relationships, all of these things would happen. Yeah. Right? But it is how you deal with them that shows your own character, the kind of person.
Okay, let me ask you one thing. Have you ever reasoned why most polygamous house or home are so successful than all these single home? What am I saying? You see a man marrying 4 wives and the marriage lasts for years. Yeah. And people now looking at it, you will see maybe age matters. Because these men that are marrying 3 wives, 4 wives, maybe they have the knowledge of how marriages should be run. Compared to all these fools, you see people getting married at the age of 18, 20, 21. I believe maybe they've not acquired some knowledge. Maybe that is what is happening. Then what happened? You will see many polygamous homes or marriages be successful or peaceful than just single one, just 2 people. And compared to 5 people,
I'll tell you something now. I think that, and I'm saying this. This is an opinion. Okay. I think polygamy is supposed to be, or is going to be, the solution to many marriage problems. But that is a topic for another day.
Okay, so I'm
solution to all many marriage problems.
Okay,
but that's topic for.
So are you considering that as well?
No, well, I'm a product of a polygamous.
Wait,
are you considering that?
Okay.
If you can suggest that,
maybe that is you, but not for we women.
Now on to my next question. Still talking about abusive relationships and stints. Now, what is the contribution of society, family, and religion when it comes to this abusive relationship? Now, let me link this to the Osinachi case that is trending on social media. There has been back and forth about it. Now, the pastor of the church she attended came out yesterday and did a video claiming he has no idea she was in an abusive relationship. Each time he sees her, whether with bruises or injuries, she will come up with something to defend. Now, I'm going to ask, when it comes to religion, could it be because we have the fact that we have a particular part in the Bible, I'm not so sure about it in the Quran, that says divorce is not allowed. It's a no-no. Could that be the reason why some religious people would never think of going out of their abusive relationship?
Speaking it from the biblical aspect, to me, that line, divorce is not allowed for true marriages. Not what we have these days. Before true marriages, we not endorse or condone all this, or we not even, this violence will not come in there. Not all these marriages we have. And let me point something. Some people are still making some mistakes. Most people, before you seek advice from someone, you have to look at their way of life and their sense. Because someone is older than you doesn't mean the person has sense than you. A stupid old youth will become a stupid old man. All this awawa we are seeing, all these styles, one day they are going to become old men. So are you telling me when they give advice, they are giving good advice? No. You have to know who you... Let me tell you, a 20-year-old boy can give advice that sounds more than what 60-year-old man is giving. It's just that people we have in the House of Rep, in the Green Chamber, in the Red Chamber, do you think most of them have senses than us? No. But people are so committed to this age range in Nigeria or in Africa. And because your pastor tells you, I say don't do it. Hey, use your own sense.
I have something to say.
That is why I'm saying, are these marriages true marriages? The Bible is talking about true marriages.
It is not your place to determine a true marriage. The pastor has done what he should do, which is to join them together. Yeah. That is what is mandated to do, and he has done it. So it's a true marriage as far as
anybody that's facing that can go back to
No. What I'm saying is that when a man of God tells you to stay, or he tries to end, no man of God will tell you continue beating your wife. No man of God will tell you continue insulting your husband. They will try to make peace. But then it usually does not.
Most of them do it for their own selfish interest.
No, not for selfish interest. I think
most of them do for the selfish because they know
they are trying to protect that institution.
Which institution? Which is the institution that didn't care to know about the basics.
I
most of them don't even care to know about the basis of the institution.
I don't understand where it's coming from, because he's saying that they would not want to, because of their kind of practice, they won't want to end that relationship. If you can't end it, there are ways you can talk to the woman. It's a decision to make, of course, not yours. But there are ways you can talk to her for her to make that decision on her own. Because when she makes it on her own, it makes it better than when she's been.
But I think it is very difficult. It's going to be very difficult for a man of God to
tell you to leave your home.
No, there are separation. That's why I said that we can advise her.
We can do separation. I think right now they talk about separation. Separation doesn't mean you are totally
divorced. Even one of the accounts of this Osinachi, the mom said there was a time the lady moved back home. And then the pastor and the man came to beg, and they had to allow them go. So the man of God would always do
his
the
own
man
part.
of God's job.
Before the man of God should do that job, they should look at the basis of that marriage.
They should always have counseling.
Some don't.
Forget about that counseling. I said this counseling is a scam.
Exactly.
Okay, no, because of our
That
time.
is it. Counseling marriage is scam.
This thing keeps going on. It keeps going on, and you see it, and you see that the ladies go back. It's wrong.
They are just trying to be a man of God, and of course to live.
No, that's why I said something that you might not be able to tell her to get the divorce, but there are ways you can talk to her for her to leave that relationship.
No,
because when you know, make your research, and that is the problem I have with religious
know the
leaders.
basis of the
That's the
relationship.
problem I have with religious leaders. The fact that they will only listen to you, they won't listen to you.
But
what
if this you don't come forth to say what is happening?
That is the problem. A lot of people that are facing abuse don't have that strength. But that is your
job to bring them together. Let me buttress it. If I am the husband of the wife, and today you find me in hospital, my hand is broken, maybe my leg is broken, what did I have to tell you again? Tell me, what did I have to tell you again in that marriage?
That has spoken already.
It has spoken for itself. I don't need to tell you anything, man.
Not everybody, especially people with abuse, they can't speak out.
They have that.
The lady I told you about, she's experiencing this thing for long. She can't speak out, but I want to, because
look at what Abib said. Or were you the one that said it? That the lady now every week when the husband didn't beat,
she has
that kind of woman, whatever she does now, she's damaged. Must you be told? Must the pastor be told that something is wrong with this woman? No.
Okay, so I want to come up to the part of family. All this, Kenny, in 30 seconds. Family, what is their own contribution to when it comes to abusive relationship? We have some families who will tell you, you can't come back here because he paid your bride price, we gave you out, and you are all ease. What is your take about such family directly giving consent to abuse, if I may say? Kenny?
Yeah, I think it's based on what they have experienced from the onset. It's depending, it's on different level. There are some that their relationship is amazing. So when their daughter or their son is facing that kind of abuse, they feel like should be able to handle it. Maybe you are the one with the problem, it becomes an issue. For a woman that is she is the one facing abuse, and she keeps facing that abuse, and she has been enduring it. So when you come to her as a daughter or the husband, and you say, Mommy, I'm facing this abuse, they feel that if I can handle this, I can take it and sleep it like this. So you should be able to. That is where the problem comes in. And some parents are the ones that even force those children to get married when they don't even want to. So a lot of it is involved when it comes to.
So families can be blamed for this.
Yes, I agree. Families can be blamed, but I also think that no family would want you because they have a name to protect. And they have that institution of marriage to also protect. So when you have to come back home, it means you're a failure, sort of. It means
and that also rubs off on the family.
That rubs off on the family. It means that they've not probably done their job. They've not parented you well. They've not brought you up well to be able to stay in a marriage. So it brings failure to them. So in order to protect all of these things, they go as far as trying to salvage the marriage. Enjoy it. You can't do this, you can't do that. So I think family they are to be blamed, but they have a good reason to want you to stay in a marriage.
I don't think that reason is good enough.
Yeah, for me, as much as elders in every family are charged with the responsibility of protecting every marriages, I will also employ and we should let the elders or the family know that oftentimes they have to talk to the person in position to let them know, even psychologically when you are talking to somebody, you know the trauma they are going through. You don't force them to what you know will kill them. At the end, you are the one that will lose. You understand? Oftentimes, talk to your children and the family. Your bad people do say something that I'm not mentioning also doing. force ẹṣin láti mú mi. You only take the horse to the river. You can't force the horse to drink the water. You understand? And no matter how much, I want to talk in the aspect of the man now. No matter how much they talk to a man, you understand? What they want to do will still be what they will do, especially the youth we have these days. And I believe what is prompting all this abuse is the high rise in drug taking, you know, some drinking, smoking, all these things trigger when something, a little thing happens. So I believe the family, they should just do much in talking to the kids. Yeah, not even raising now, not even raising. When the union is in place, they should try to talk to the, the female high rise now, to let them know what they are going through in the marriage, if there is anything.
Okay. All right. You heard our point. You heard our program for today. We talk about abusive relationships, instincts. That's the effect of abusive relationships on the partner and the individuals involved. But I think at one point, let me read this quote I have here. At any given moment, you have the power to say this is not how the story will end. That's from Kristen Mason Miller. You can determine how your story will end. And I think that's why we're having so much uprising about reactions of people speaking about their abusive relationship, and a lot now moving out and saying no. If you think you can endure abusive relationship, please, let's tell you, you can't. You don't have the stamina. You only have one life to live. You can't live twice. And it won't be so good that someone who is also existing like you puts an end to your life because of its anger and reaction. And that's our program today on The Delivery Room. All right, so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Delivery Room NJ on YouTube. And of course, you can follow us on all our social media handles, on Facebook, on Twitter, at Delivery Room NJ, and of course on Facebook, Delivery Room NJ. Drop your comments, your reaction, and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please, we really need that subscription. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on your notification button so that you can know when we drop our latest edition. My name remains Temidayo Anthony, and of course, thank you to everyone, my people, here in the studio, always doing great, always delivering it as it is, saying different points. And the reason why we come together to do this is to correct societal decadence that is going on in our generation. And with our own words, with our own reaction, maybe, just maybe, we can affect one person or the other. So thank you guys for coming into the studio. Thank you so much. My name remains Temidayo Anthony. Till we'll come your way again with our next edition. Please stay safe. And of course, stay out of abusive relationship. Your life matters.